morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's 1 o'clock, so I'm just going to get us started. We do have this recorded, so you can share the recording with others afterwards. And I'm Annie Smith. I'm the Vice President of Research and Data here at NCEA, and I'm just going to start us off with prayer. And fall has hit very hard in New England, where I am, so I'm going to have a prayer for autumn. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Amen. God of all seasons, we thank you for autumn. We thank you for the touch of coolness in the air that gives us a new burst of energy, for the coloring of trees that shows the creativity of the divine artist, for the falling leaves that reveal the strength of the branches, for the hues of fields that bring peace to our souls, for the smiles on pumpkins that bring joy to children, for the fall harvest that brings us gratitude for the bounty of our land, for this change of seasons that reveals the circle of life. God of all seasons, as you transform the earth, transform us by your spirit. Amen.
Amen.
So I want to introduce my coworker, Margaret Kaplow. She's the Vice President of Marketing Communications, and she has been working tirelessly on this marketing kit for Catholic schools. And she's going to share with us the kit and then some tips for Discover Catholic Schools Week, which is fast approaching. So welcome, Margaret.
Thank you. Thank you, Annie. And good afternoon to everybody. Throughout the webinar, if you have questions, please just put them in the chat, and then we will get to them as we start to wrap things up here. So I think everyone is already aware that Discover Catholic Schools Week is November 13th through 19th. And like Annie said, I just here have the marketing kit, which is the updated one for 22-23. And you can find this on our website. And so it would be at ncea.org/CSW, which is Catholic Schools Week. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about how we got to bring about Discover Catholic Schools Week. So Catholic Schools Week has been around for, I believe it is 48 years. And we would get, calls, and teachers and administrators would tell us that they really wish that it was in the fall. So National Catholic Schools Week is usually the last Sunday in it is the last Sunday in January through the following Saturday. So this year it's January 29th through February 4th for 2023. And we would always have people who would contact us and say, we really like to do something in the fall. That's when we have like a big enrollment push. So they were planning mostly open houses and shadow days, things along those lines in the fall. So we thought, well, how about we add a Discover Catholic Schools Week to the fall to help everybody who is using that time already to, like I said, to either push enrollment or really just to tout how great Catholic schools are. So that's when we added Discover Catholic Schools Week, which I believe this is our 3rd year doing that. And so that's how it came to be. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, just in general, the marketing kit is really pretty robust in that we basically start with why the kit exists and how you can use it best. Talking a little bit about content marketing, how, its importance. It's, one of the most important things is to know your audience. So, for schools who are pushing enrollment, they really want to focus more closely on the potential Catholic school students and families. Whereas for others, it's really just kind of a spotlight on what the Catholic school is doing And, if they're lucky enough to say, well, and if we get, new enrollment, that's great too. But knowing audience is really how you have to start everything. And again, I don't want to go through every single thing in the marketing kit, but I do want to just give you an idea of how useful it can really be for you. Starting with, a planning guide, and how, using all your message channels. So you need to have, the first thing you need to have is an updated and really comprehensive website for your school. Sometimes I go on school websites and I notice that, it hasn't been updated since last March or something. And I know that's difficult. Trust me, I totally understand how hard it is, but making a concerted effort, perhaps around Discover Catholic Schools Week and Celebrate Catholic Schools Week in January, to make sure that it's as clean and up to date as you can possibly be. And of course, these days, every other channel, every social media channel is going to be your friend when you're trying to get the message out about your school and about what your school is doing. So we talk a little bit about storytelling and how important that can be. We give you ideas on how to brainstorm this. Again, all the channels that you can use if you send out emails, if you have blogs, if you have a newsletter, and don't be afraid of approaching your parish bulletin to make sure that you get some information in there. And if you're not associated with, not every school is part of a parish, but whatever your local parish is. I know that at my parish in Washington, D.C., is always looking for information to put in the bulletin. And the good thing about that is they produce, well, I don't know that all of them do, but I know a lot of them still do produce a hard copy of a bulletin as well as an online bulletin. So you've got your information in both places. So, and again, going back to emails home, if you have a school newsletter, if you send information home to parents, if you have a blog, and all social media is huge right now. The other thing I would also encourage is using your students. We have some schools that they make it part of a class or even part of a grade for them to create some really very inventive social media posts, whether it's something that you would add to your school's Facebook page or your school's Instagram, or or even on LinkedIn. I know some of them have even used LinkedIn, although I'm not quite sure the audience is the same for that. But and as well as ads, again, an ad in the bulletin, as well as just a note about the upcoming activities that your school might be engaging in for Discover Catholic Schools Week. And again, the marketing kit, I can't stress enough how many resources are in here. And I know that because I have to redo it every year, or I have for the past few years. And it's a lot of work. But, aside from the social and emails and blog posts and, just putting up good old signs in your parish, if you have a parish bulletin, your school bulletin boards, sending home information. Some schools I know even use some swag companies, I don't know how else to put it, but some product companies, and they make school signs that will say, it's Discover Catholic Schools Week at St. Michael's, and you can make yard signs, you can make Klingons that, put in windows. You can also ask your local merchants and businesses if they would help get the word out for you, whether it's, passing out brochures or flyers or something that you are using just to try to invite the community to come in and take a look at your school. And again, whether it's for you are hoping to increase enrollment or attract enrollment for the coming year. It's really up to your school and what your goals are. So we talk about the personal engagement, again, reaching out to your current community as well as going beyond. I do know that a couple of schools have told me that one thing that they do is they get information from the parishes, their local parishes, when they do baptisms. So they make a running list of the most recently baptized, and they begin to reach out to those parents saying, congratulations on your baby's baptism, and we're the local Catholic school, and if you would like to come in for a visit or whatever. And they start to just really create a relationship. And from what I understand, most parishes don't have any problem giving up that information to the schools for that, for those purposes. So hopefully it continues to be that way. Again, some complete guide on social media tips, on ways that you can reach out to your community and let things be known. Here are some stories from success stories of schools that used a lot of social media, both during Discover Catholic Schools Week as well as Celebrate Catholic Schools Week. And it's always good to take a look at other schools. Like, you can check into other schools' websites, or just plug it in when you're looking on Twitter or something, just to see what are other schools doing that stands out for you, that you might be able to do as well. So I'm just going to let you know now. So this is the last year. So in 2024, the theme for Catholic Schools Week and the logo will change. We try to keep it the same for a good 3 years, so that for those schools who do create special products or signs or things like that, that they're not having to recreate things every year. So some of the things we've done in the past is we've created a few different logos and sent them out to our membership and asked them to vote. And this was the one that won 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in 2023. And then this is just information about using the guidelines on anything that you would like to do that you would like to do. So the daily themes for Discover Catholic Schools Week are pretty close to what they were with, to what they are rather with Celebrate Catholic Schools or National Catholic Schools Week. So we try to make these themes so that you've got something to engage your school and your community with on a daily basis during the week. So Sundays, discover your parish family. And again, all the ideas here are, you can have a meet and greet after Mass with some of your students dressed in uniforms just to say hello and shake hands. You can also showcase any student created exhibits illustrating, various aspects of the Catholic faith. I know Annie had shared with me that a local school in the Boston area had created an art contest, and the prompt was Mary, our Mother, and all the various, getting all the kids involved, and at every grade level. I believe it was a K-8 school, and getting everybody involved. And of course, we have to have a Discover Catholic School Students Day. And when I talk about this, one of the things, again, that we know has worked really well was involving the students in planning things for that event, taking their ideas and running with them, and also letting them kind of dictate what they're going to do. Like, do they want to make a short video? Do they want to invite a group of people to the school? You know, maybe it's potential families, or maybe it's just people from the parish, and invite them to the school and have them act as tour guides and show them around. You know, they can wear t-shirts that can depict who's the current student and who's maybe a prospective student. Again, you know, using the resources you have is what we try to focus on, and certainly your students are one of the best resources. Adding to that, I would also say that in addition to your current students, alumni is really great. So we do have schools that reach out to some alumni and ask them to basically work as influencers and talk about that Discover Catholic Schools Week is coming up. This is why they liked going to their school. This is what they liked best. This is what they miss now that they've moved on, or how well they've been prepared for their next steps. So again, if you're not using your own students, which we hope you are, we do hope that you would invite your alumni to help you with some of this. And again, you can never forget thanking the parents who put their children in Catholic schools, because we know that for many parents, it is a sacrifice financially. And so reaching out to parents, and again, you know, whether it's your current parents, your prospective parents, you can have a special event. You know, maybe it's a donut day on that Tuesday during Discover Catholic Schools Week, on the Catholic School Parents Week, and you know, leading right into Discover Catholic School Educators. You can never forget the teachers, because we also know that that too can be a sacrifice, as far as really becoming invested in being a part of the mission of Catholic school education. And you know, as we know, most teachers do not make the money that they would like to be making, and certainly in Catholic schools, everybody shares in that, and certainly shares in helping form children to be saints, which is what a former boss of mine used to always say. He said, you know, our job in Catholic schools is to form saints and not just great people. And luckily we do both. So Thursdays, the faith-based communities, and again, reaching out to some of the communities that may not be Catholic schools, or I'm sorry, that may not be Catholics, because we do have a fairly large number of our Catholic school students are not Catholics, are not Catholic students, and are not Catholics. They are Catholic school students. So again, you know, in inviting some of these different faiths to maybe come in and talk to classrooms about their faith, you know, whether it's the local temple or a mosque, or having that interaction again with the community. And I think everyone is probably aware that during the pandemic, we did have quite an increase in Catholic education and people sending their children to Catholic schools, because Catholic schools were amazing in being able to open up safely 5 days a week and be hybrid when it was necessary. And a lot of people really took to that fact, putting their students in our schools. And we can never forget the donors to Catholic schools. So again, that's Friday during Discover Catholic Schools Week. And I will be able to show you some tools and templates that you can use to basically take advantage of all of these days and the themes, both for Discover and for Celebrate Catholic Schools Week. And then on Saturday of that week, we're back to, as I mentioned earlier, was reaching out to alumni. So whether it's hosting them to come back, or maybe you have an alumni teacher basketball game or soccer game or something along those lines. But again, if you could ask alumni to create a brief video testimonial, or again, act as an influencer, and share what they're doing now and what they think really help prepare them for their next steps after they left their Catholic school. So I am going to switch quickly to tools and templates. I think everybody can see this, right? So
We
what
can see it.
okay, what we've done here is try to prepare sample everything for you, from social media group or social media posts, to letters, to advertisements, to press releases, and these are all fillable PDFs. So you can add your own information and use these, and hopefully you don't even have to think about it. So most of these say it's for Celebrate Catholic Schools Week, but we also encourage you to use it for Discover Catholic Schools Week. And we give you the hashtag for Catholic Schools Week, which we also use for Discover. But anyway, there's, sample open house announcements. There's letters to people who you might invite to speak or help volunteer, or your current volunteers, to thank them for the work that they do. Sample letterhead for your school. And again, just, I don't want to bore you with going through this step by step, but we do know that a lot of the schools really rely on using these as a way to save time. We tried to create them and make sure that we were covering all our bases, from sending letters to your local government officials, whether it's written from the president or the principal, letters to parishioners that you could again ask to just be included in the bulletin, or put them in the back of the church where they can be grabbed when people are leaving. Listing your calendar of events for the week during Catholic Schools Week and Discover Catholic Schools Week. We've got press release templates, sample postcards, a planning guide on how to have a really successful open house. And we've also got all the social media advisories and these kinds of things. So we know that for the most part, a lot of schools like to use Discover Catholic Schools Week as a time to introduce new things. And for some schools, it's become maybe having a food drive, or like a canned goods drive, and then actually the classes can compete against each other, and somebody gets a pizza party when they brought in the most cans. I think last year there was a school, I want to say it was in New Mexico, and I think they said they collected like 1,500 cans of food, which I just thought was phenomenal. Again, it was a K-8 school, and 1,500 cans of food is pretty spectacular. They also use it as a time for service, and making lunches for the homeless during Discover Catholic Schools Week, or helping to find toiletries and the kinds of things that a lot of the homeless shelters look for. I know some schools have had, all the regular things, which are bake sales and car washes. And again, some of it can help bring in money for the school, but it also really serves as a way to just call attention to your school and what's so good about your school. And again, that's why we have these weeks, so that you can celebrate what's best about your school. Discover Catholic Schools Week. So the other thing is there are liturgy planning guides, and these are really meant to be little prayer services that you can invite your parish priests and the community for sure, and have these little prayer services, which some schools have said they hesitated just because they thought it was a lot of work, but when they realized that they could find all of the information here in the planning guide, that's turned out to be what really helped them best. So there's the weekday prayer services, there's the liturgy guides. Here you go with one of the food drives. So this just shows Holy Family School doing their food drive. In addition to, so I know that the food drive, you know, the student teacher basketball games or soccer games, sometimes there's I know we've had schools that during Discover Catholic Schools Week had some sort of a competition, and the winner became the principal for the day. And they said they did have a lot of fun with that, because the principal then gets to see what everybody thinks their role is on a regular basis. I think it's always best when you involve your students, whether, like I said, whether they're making videos or you know, just being the docents on a school open house. You know, anyway, the kids end up always stealing the show regardless of what they're doing. And definitely during both of these times. And again, inviting in the families, you know, if you can get parents to also come, you know, your current parents coming to open house and talking with prospective parents or prospective families for the Catholic school, we know that has a lot of work. We had a past NCEA president who used to say that the best thing to do was talk to your neighbors. And he was very excited one year because he said he talked to all his neighbors. He got them to go to their Discover Catholic Schools Week open house. And I think he said, like, out of 5 or 6 neighbors, 2 of them ended up sending their children to Catholic school. So he was always very proud of that. But he used to call it the talking over the back fence, which was basically just laying out to them how great their Catholic schools were. And he got it. So at the end here, there is a list of holy days and feast days, also in the calendar that's updated every year. And for the most part, that's just a quick look at Discover Catholic Schools Week. But I just wanted to bring you back to some of the social media here and how people have used it, whether it's just your students are, you know, smiling lovely on Facebook or Twitter, or you've got, again, and you know, the parents and families showing them. It does have some of the names of some of these schools, so you can look for them when you're looking at Twitter or you're looking on Facebook, and just kind of get ideas about what they're doing to basically just draw attention to their schools. I was really surprised last year at how many people really did use social media in a great way to let everybody know that they were celebrating Discover Catholic Schools Week as well as National Catholic Schools Week. And again, you know, just so you can see all the tools that you might need also in the tools and templates. Gives you a little bit of the background information when you're sending out. This is a media advisory. This is a flat out news release if you want to release it to your local news. And certainly don't forget your diocesan communications, whether they have newsletters or posting something on their websites, including it in their in their printed material as well. So if you are associated with a parish, having something written from your pastor. And again, just regular flyers. I know we have had some schools who told us that their local businesses get involved and they will put their flyers and advertisements in their businesses, in their windows, and that some of them, if it's a bakery or a coffee shop, are happy to help celebrate Discover Catholic Schools Week, either by supplying the refreshments for open house, or after masses on Sundays, or bringing in lunch for teachers when it's to focus on Catholic school educators, and donors and volunteers. Again, that's just a great use of thanking your volunteers and making sure they know how much you appreciate them. There are also some things that you can just print out. So this is the dozen reasons to choose a Catholic school. And again, if you want to give these out at your open house, or put them around your school, put them up in your neighborhood, pass it over that fence that our former president used to talk about. I believe, yeah, so we did redo social graphics. So you can use these whether for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for Twitter. The banner sizes are already taken care of for you. And then we've got Catholic School Snaps. And so these are just little infographics about some Catholic school information that a lot of schools have told us that they'll use them individually or as a one page, and they can use these. You can use these on social media, or once again, just to make sure that you're sending this information home, that you're putting it out in the community. And I think that's about it. I hope that if you have any questions, we're happy to get to questions, and we can discuss, maybe even if you have some ideas or some things that you have done that have really worked well for you. I know several schools have told me that the sports events between teachers and students seem to have a really good attendance record, as well as the school just really likes it and gets into it. And then again, you can involve your community and have them come and watch. You can use it as a fundraiser. And there you go. So how can I answer any questions?
Margaret, there's one question about getting this document. And so it's at ncea.org/CSW, and there's a download button, and you'll just have to log in to your account. If you don't know your password, you can reach out to member services at NCEA who can set it up for you.
Yep, absolutely. Member services. Sorry, I was just going to say member services can answer so many questions about your membership if you have questions.
Also, if anybody has ideas of how they've implemented Discover Catholic Schools Week and wants to share with other people, we're happy to hear that too.
Oh, I'd love that. Okay, it's a quiet bunch.
Is there a hashtag you recommend using?
So the hashtag is hashtag CSW23. And we use that for Discover as well. It's not just for Catholic Schools Week in January. We just want to use the same one just because it's easier to track that way.
And someone commented that they search on Instagram using that hashtag to see what other schools are doing, which is similar to what I think, Margaret, you were saying, looking at these schools too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The Discover Catholic Schools Week still shows 2021 in all media. Is there a plan to update this, or should we use CSW?
Wow, no, it should all be, we loaded the last of the information this morning because we did realize we'd left out a page on the tools and templates, but everything should be updated. If you want to email me later, I'll put my email address in the chat and let me know what that link is. We'll make sure that we get it fixed because everything should be updated at this point.
And then there's a question about Catholic Schools Week in the spring versus fall. So there's Discover Catholic Schools Week, which is in November, and then Catholic Schools Week, which we've had for 50 years, which is at the very end of January, beginning of February, correct?
Right, right.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Margaret, for sharing with us. We're all excited to see what each of your schools do for Discover Catholic Schools Week and Catholic Schools Week. Thank you.
Yes, and please make sure that you tag us in everything that you do so we can see what everybody's doing. And any great ideas, if you think you've come up with a great idea, again, we'd love to hear it.
Great. I hope everyone has a great afternoon.